For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. Today, we're going to take a look at a truly remarkable piece of hardware, the first Microsoft Windows computer. This is the Hewlett-Packard Omnibook. Smaller than a sheet of paper, it weighs just 3 pounds, and the most amazing thing is, well, watch this. I push the on button and it boots up instantly in Windows Program Manager. The Omnibook puts Windows in read-only memory. That's what allows it to boot so fast without going through DOS. Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel are also built in. They don't load very fast the first time, but if you load them and leave them on the desk, your access is instant. You can see here that the keyboard is full size, allowing for comfortable typing. Although the screen is not backlit, that would drain the battery, it is clear enough to be read easily in any location with good light. We can open the battery case to let you see that it runs on 4 AA batteries. HP says it runs 5 to 9 hours depending on storage. The HP Omnibook 300, $2,000 from Hewlett-Packard in Corvallis, Oregon. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. Today, we're going to look at a DOS package that ought to interest anyone who really cares a lot, professionally, about the weather. The product is Weather Brief. It turns your telephone into the Weather Channel. Of course, the information isn't free. It costs between 15 and 40 cents a minute. Today, we're going to look at an exciting and challenging game for the Macintosh called Pair Arena. Today, I'm going to look at a very useful Windows utility that helps you find files you're looking for, even if you keep them compressed in zip format. The program is called Searcher Pro. You know, I can never get my paper schedule just the way I want it, and as for my 3-digit to-do list, forget it. But with Datebook, you have a fighting chance to get organized. Now, each day you can look at either your to-do list, the items carry forward if not completed, or your events for the day. View the day's events as text, a Gantt chart, or a time bar. The week view looks a lot like paper calendars, and in fact you can print it out to fit the popular day timer or Filofax formats. A unique feature of this Datebook is the busyness indicator. Divide your workday into any 3 periods you choose, and the calendar shows you, at a glance, with green, yellow, or red bars, whether you are free, slightly busy, or totally crunched. For most of us, the week starts on Monday. In Datebook, the week starts when you say it does. You can use a banner to indicate multi-day events. Datebook comes with a variety of icons which you can use to mark specific types of events. Datebook is $125 from After Hours Software in Van Nuys, California. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. If you're one of the Macintosh users who wonders if System 7 is worth the trouble of upgrading, I'm here to tell you it is, and I'm here to tell you why. People argue endlessly about the differences between the Apple Macintosh and Microsoft Windows. One clear advantage, the Mac has built-in sound. PC users had to live with tinny squeaks unless they bought a soundboard. It looks like paper, but it could be a quarter-ounce pen computer. It's actually an access form for a new Windows application called Paperworks for PCs with fax boards. Microsoft Windows 3.0 presents one face on the screen and another face when it comes time to print. If you own a dot matrix or inkjet printer, you'll find that Windows provides few fonts, and they aren't very pretty. So a number of vendors are offering add-on programs that enhance Windows fonts. The best one we've seen is Bitstream's Facelift. Now, it's easy to install. Facelift adds 13 high-quality type fonts to Windows applications like Word for Windows, which we're showing you here. And these are scalable fonts, meaning they can be any size from 6 points up to 128 points. The size depends on how much memory you can make available for font generation. Now, that may mean dedicating 512K to this program, but like most Windows programs, a lot of memory is par for the course. Facelift can translate its own type font names to the ones which are resident in your printer with a built-in names table. Aptly named, this program performs plastic surgery on Windows' stodgy fonts. A major facelift for only $100. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. Sorry, I guess I thought I was Tex Murphy, P.I. in San Francisco in the year 2033. Just another suave guy in a trench coat. That's what you'll think, too, if you try Mean Streets, a great variation on the theme of adventure games. Sometimes I prefer the dark. So does your PC. If you leave the same screen up all the time, it burns in. Now, lots of programs can automatically blank your Macintosh screen, but none can do it so elegantly as After Dark. One of the most popular uses for either the PC or the Macintosh is the creation of banners. Until now, the programs that created banners were fairly simple-minded. Banner Mania has changed that. I'd love to be a teacher if they brought back corporal punishment. But seriously, for those of us who weren't paying attention in school, or even those who were, there's some more help on grammar checking available from Correct Grammar.
October 1989. This is Paul in March 1990. What a difference. The difference is between 270 pounds and 230 pounds. Let's look again at the Paul of the fall, the Paul of the spring.
Time for a little demonstration. Now, you'll notice that as I blow this balloon up, the printing on it is readable at various sizes. If you own a Macintosh, you know there are limits to WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, all right, but sometimes you wish you hadn't, which is where Adobe Type Manager comes in. Now, every Mac user should recognize this type font selection menu from a word processor. Most of you know what happens if you pick a size for which you don't have the actual font. It looks like this, crummy. That's because regular Macintosh fonts are bitmapped. Well, Adobe Type Manager allows you to use outline fonts on your Macintosh. You can use these fonts at any standard size, or you can blow them up like this, and they still look good. Adobe Type Manager will not do this with just any font, however. It only works with Adobe fonts, of which you get 4 when you buy the package: Helvetica, Times, Symbol, and Courier. Now, you know, a million ImageWriter users will be happy to hear that their rather scruffy-looking output can look like this. Adobe Type Manager is $100 from Adobe Systems in Mountain View, California. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. You know, a lot of people call Corvette America's favorite hot car. And for 36 years, it's been king of the road. Now it's ready to be king of the PC in an electronic game version called simply VET. I wouldn't think of trying to fix hardware without a toolkit, and you shouldn't think of trying to fix software without one either. In this case, HDC Windows Manager. It's a useful kit full of utility programs which enhance Microsoft's popular Windows environment.
This looks like hardware, right? Well, it isn't. It's software in a can, indicative of a major trend we see coming in software. In the computer business, they call it firmware. It's permanent software written on a chip. Now, in this case, we're talking about a spelling checker that takes up no memory and is guaranteed to work with every word processor and every communications package as long as it works with your keyboard. Now, you see, if I were to type in HET instead of THE, this box would beep at me. Not an obnoxious beep, but a subtle beep. Now, sure, it beeps on proper names and jargon, but that's okay. You should double-check proper names anyway, and you can add 1,200 words of your own to PC Typewrite's 100,000-word dictionary. Someday, instead of a box like this, spelling checkers will be reduced to a single chip you can plug in. That's where software is headed. PC Typewrite for the IBM PC XT and AT is $200 from Xerox in Rochester, New York. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. Of course, I wouldn't really operate in a television studio, but some programs don't care where they operate, and IS-2000 is one of them. Now, IS-2000 is an integrated software package that's unusual for a couple of reasons. It doesn't just work under the MS-DOS operating system, it actively cooperates with MS-DOS, and it only costs $40. People who bill other people for their time, accountants, lawyers, consultants, spend a lot of their time wadding up their money and throwing it away if they can't keep track of who they talk to for how long about what projects. In a big company, there's systems for keeping track of time and billing for it. Well, now a sole practitioner can do it too at a reasonable price with time slips. The $100 price is a real breakthrough. Outlines obscure details. The same is true of many outliners now on the market. They tend to obscure rather than illuminate. Now, that was before More, a most graphical outliner and database.
Have you ever wondered how it is that week after week I can look you right in the eye and do a minute-long software review without a script? Well, of course, I do have a script, and this is it. It runs on a prompter, which projects it into a one-way mirror in front of the camera lens. Now, why am I telling you this? Because the software package I used to create that beautiful type is worth sharing. It's called Fancy Font. Now, it's going to be a short review today because there's no screen in Fancy Font worth showing. With this program, the proof is in the output. There's lots of beautiful typefaces, and all of them are available on a simple $300 Epson dot matrix printer. Dozens of typefaces, from 10-point body type to 48-point headline type, all printed from normal word processor files or direct from the screen. If you ever have any need to make either large or pretty type on your dot matrix printer, run, don't walk, to a store that carries Fancy Font, $180 from Softcraft in Madison, Wisconsin. For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Paul Schindler. For all of you who've ever wished that things would go faster, I have just the program for you, Microsoft Quick Basic Compiler. Now, we don't talk about languages very often, but that's because there isn't often much to talk about. Quick Basic changes all of that. First, a few words about BASIC, one of the simplest programming languages. It's much easier to learn than Fortran or COBOL. Most people my age, don't ask, learned it in school. Gosh, it's never done that before. You know, have you ever stopped to think that each of your $5 floppies has several $1,000s worth of your time and effort on it? And for those of you with hard disks, multiply that by the storage capacity you have. It's frightening to think what would happen if something goes wrong and your disk fails. And it's even more frightening to think that most of you have never thought about it.